And as usual, it took the thumbnail picture just as I'm glancing over here because I thought I saw someone walking in that I knew. Ah, the post-con blues. You gotta hate them, don't you? Because I don't go to as many cons as I did back in the day. For one, they've gotten far more expensive. And some of the cons, like I said, that I used to go to, I refuse to set foot in anymore. Um, as y'all know, some of you have been following this channel with what happened with like Cincinnati Comic Expo. I already said I refuse to set foot in that con ever again. You should not be treating your guests like every one of them's a potential terrorist. I have never had to. I showed up to that con. I was wearing my rings. I had my vaporizer, of course, with me. But no, before I can walk in, now I got to take off all my rings, take off all my TARDIS keys, and my necklaces. Basically, put them in a tray and go through a radar, what you call a metal detector. And this con already had people on the floor, people monitoring the entrance, and all that, and they had never had an incident ever. Matter of fact, the incident that led to this ridiculous security was when that guy wanted to shoot the Green Ranger, sadly, who's passed away, committed suicide. But like I said, they did this, and it's like, well, the guy never got anywhere near him, and he was busted on the floor by not only the people saw he was wearing real guns. He got busted on the floor by security and the local police. Never got near his target. So now that means we're going to put up metal detectors. Now you have to have prop checks. In a way, I don't mind them for prop checks because you're always going to have that one village idiot who shows up and does something stupid. We had it happen a couple times back in the day at Dover. You know how Klingons wear the gauntlets and they have the little spikes on them? Now, those spikes, those little horns, were made of resin or rubber. These idiots showed up, they were made of metal. They walked over to the retail store that was in the same area, saw some kids in a car, were scared out of their minds because they see these two big Klingon brutes coming up. They're young kids. And mom, like I said, I can't remember where mom was. Their mom. And then what do these idiots do? They start going up to the car and freaking the kids out. Ended up scratching up the car door with their metal little spikes. Caused a major incident with the local police. And guess what happened? Banned from the con forever. We don't tolerate that shit. Well, I tried to be in a good mood this morning, but like I said, it's post, this weekend, like I said, I still got my fingers crossed because well, I've met John at least a couple times here and there, I think, if I remember right. And so, but like I said, money was tight. This was literally right after, it's literally right after Chicago TARDIS. And, we got to pay for gas, hotel for one night, plus our con fees and whatnot, and we don't spend as much in the dealer's room as we used to, but you see how that all factors in. So but I was like bound and determined, look, when artists come to Columbus, they usually don't come back, and I don't know if it's because this city has a reputation. There are plenty who do, but come on. The Patrick Stewart came here the one year. I was like, yep, we're going. Why? Because I already had that tingling in my gut. There's no way in hell he's coming back. Sure enough, he never has. So I'm glad I got that autograph. Got to talk to John Delancey, who was sitting right next to Patrick Stewart. And that was a wonderful conversation. Okay, I'm not in a good mood this morning. Oh my goodness. I'm sorry, Whose Books. I just went back and read that bit. I'm so sorry to hear about your aunt. I really, and that is, it's sad when, we have to say goodbye to people. And, oh no, I don't even have the words. I'm very sorry to hear that. See, it's coming up on a sad time for me as well, because everybody goes out and they celebrate New Year's Eve. Well, my father passed away December 31st, 2014. So I every year when it gets to New Year's, I start thinking about him more than I usually do. And all I can tell you is, we're going to leave folks on the wayside. It's the way of life. But we got to keep moving forward and remember them. Oh, great. I'm sorry. It's not your fault. That's kind of sucks, man. Just took my breath away there with that. Because I was about to say I'm looking forward to this weekend because, yeah, Jody Whittaker is going to be there. Yeah, we've met Berriman a couple times here and there. And like I said, he got a bad rap on that whole thing. That was ridiculous. Noel Clark's going to walk. He's not even going to be charged for the incidents that allegedly happened. Let's say I don't know if they actually happened. I was not there, okay? But John Berriman, he's been dragged to the mud. And I'm like, why? Because he pulled his willie out with a group of adults on a closed set like almost 10 years ago. Or was it the 08 where it would have been 14 years ago? But I'm glad to see John still out and about. The fans love him. So it's like, I can't remember. I just still can't get over that horse shit. Yeah, Jody's going to be in Columbus this weekend. Like I said, I'm kind of zipped up for that. I've never been to a GalaxyCon before, so I'm kind of a little bit, weirded about that as well. So we already got our tickets. We already got our, photo op paid for. Because I wasn't making the same mistake. Well, for one, I already have Jody's autograph. I was fortunate to get that from a friend of mine back when she first appeared at BBC Radio 2 after, she'd been announced. And I was like, screw this. If I'm going to do this, I want to get a photo with Jody. So, also it seems... Now, I know at one con we were at, and I believe that was one of the horror conventions, the people who were in the autograph line were treated like, secondhand news. The artist, like I said, I'm not blaming them. I believe it was Jeffrey Dean Morgan. Showed up late due to circumstances, and the con blew it. They handed out times on slips to people for their autograph to get in the autograph line. And if you weren't in there at least an hour before the time they handed you, and even then, we were in line for almost 3.5 hours before I finally just said, screw this, and we called it. Going on 4 hours. Because Jeffrey Dean Morgan wanted to finish the autographs. You could see it in his eyes. He was having a blast talking to people and all that. And I believe, if I remember, I heard later, he did stay and made sure everybody got an autograph. But it's like, I wasn't going to stand around in line, especially when finally we're getting within almost eyesight of the table. And the con staff came and yanked him out of the room. He was not happy about it, you could tell. Because, you see, the photo op people had paid in advance. And then they decided not just to do the photo ops for that particular time, they decided to do all of them. Just to make sure they got done. They were supposed to space them out. So now we got people coming down who went upstairs from the line, and they said, look, and they weren't fooling, don't worry, because I can smell a fooler. I can smell a con job 50 miles away through reinforced concrete. All that. I won't go through the whole list, but They go, yeah, they've already said it's going to be another couple hours. So they've decided to do all the photo op things at once because they paid in advance. So I'm sitting there after the con. People I know, they got their photo. They're all head. I'm like, and we walked out because I was not staying in line another 2-3 hours. I love Jeffrey Dean Morgan as an actor, and like I said, he was not happy about it either. You could tell by the look on his face when they came to come get him. The con completely dropped the ball. Then they didn't want anyone taking photos in the room where they had the folks signing the autographs. They had like Chandler Riggs, a whole bunch of other people from The Walking Dead there. Now, I want you to keep this in mind. There's people who've been waiting in line for hours, okay? Some folks who were obviously disabled. My wife had a walker, okay? And she's not complaining, you know, she's taking it with art. But I'm looking around. Now, instead of having people come around and ask if people are okay, maybe even offering them a bottle of water, which I would have done if I was running that con, because I saw people who were in the line who were there longer than I was. You know, making sure nobody's going to get heat exhaustion, things like that. All the volunteers were being taken up to line their bodies up side by side to keep people from snapping free photos of the artists at their table. So no one's regulating the lines. No one's making sure everyone's okay. No one's even checking on the crowd. They've got all the they got smiles on their face and shit. So some of them were actually enjoying this shit. It's like, yeah, and you just made sure you're never getting my money ever again. That was the last horror hound, that's right, I ever attended. But somewhere a great idea got lost. It's not about the money, it's about the fans. And it's not the artist's fault, it's the big money grubbers. Oh, well, I just depressed the living shit out of you, but like I said, I'm looking forward to seeing Jody this weekend, and I hope I hope you're feeling better, Who's Books. Like I said, I'm sorry, I forgot if you bring the comment box up with your finger, it stopped. So I'll have to read through the rest later, because I got to get my butt inside. I keep forgetting that when you touch the screen, it stops the chat box. So I said it's convenient to do this on a phone, but sometimes it's a pain because I have enormous gorilla fingers. I finally got to meet Sophie Aldred in person this weekend, which was great. I met Tim Treloar in person for the first time, so it was kind of fun. So, like I said, we'll talk to you again tomorrow. Till then, be kind, be calm, be safe. Enjoy the rest of your Monday. I hope you're all looking forward to the holiday season. I know it can be depressing for some, but like I said, we got to keep moving forward. It's the best way to honor those you've left behind. Keep moving forward. Take care, everyone, and hopefully we'll see you all tomorrow.